Soccer hosted Longview and Mount Pleasant, the two top teams in District 15 5A. But unfortunately for Sulphur Springs, the Wildcats were on the wrong side of taking on those two foes. And the Friday before that, I went out to Hallsville and covered Wildcat Soccer, and the first broadcast for KSST this year covered Wildcat Soccer. But unfortunately, all three of those games I just mentioned were losses. So after those three losses, we had Coach Upton on the Coaches Show just a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how the previous three games the Wildcats were played at that time, it was the next three games men's soccer we'd be playing, were three crucial games in terms of playoff positioning and seeding, and how they were all very winnable games. Well, now 3 games later, and I also mentioned before I get to my next segue, also talked about with Coach Upton how if that did come to pass, there was still a very likely possibility that when Sulphur Springs hosted Hallsville on senior night tonight, and again, this was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I talked with Coach Upton about the possibility that tonight's game would in fact become a seeding game in which both of these schools fight for the 3 seeds. So, folks, again, tonight you have a de facto seeding game. The winner takes the 3 seed, the loser still in the playoffs but takes the 4 seed, and as a result would take on a district champion. Something that never is a great task when you, again, enter the playoffs as a 4 seed and you don't want to go into the playoffs on kind of a whimper or a loss, perhaps. So Coach Upton and his squad, they want the 3 seed. They want to win here tonight. But to do so, they'll have to do so against a very, very good Hallsville team. Again, Hallsville, 7-10-4 overall. Sulphur Springs, a few more losses than that, a few less ties at 7-14-2. So both of these squads just about even. Again, as previously mentioned, Sulphur Springs, the last time these two schools played was in Hallsville on February 18th. That was a 3-0 loss for the Wildcats, and which was the first of a 3-game skid for Sulphur Springs. But besides the 3-game skid and then the 2 losses to begin district season, again, taking on the 2 top teams in District 15 5A, Longview and Mount Pleasant, Sulphur Springs over those 2 skids were outscored 21-4. But on the other hand, the Wildcats, they have 2 3-game winning streaks over this course of this district season. Now in their final game, their 12th district game, and over that stretch in which Sulphur Springs won 6 games over 9, they outscored their foes 25-9 over those 2 3-game winning stretches. So Sulphur Springs really, I'm sure, wanting to avenge that loss in Hallsville, in which Hallsville was just kind of able to pour it on pretty quickly, and that Sulphur Springs was able to keep it kind of tight in the first, but then in the second period, it was just all Hallsville all the time. So no doubt the Bobcats thinking about that here tonight, and thinking about all the seniors honored, and we had a good number of them, 6 of them, and we'll talk more about them as the broadcast goes on here tonight. Under 3 minutes to go left on the warm-up clock, but the seniors for Wildcat Soccer were number 6, Brian Gonzalez, a 3-year member of Wildcats varsity, Angel Andino, a 4-year member of Sulphur Springs Soccer, Manuel Vega, a 1-year member of Wildcats varsity soccer, and both Vega and Gonzalez hope to serve in the military and become a Marine. So thank you for your future service, and thank you for all that you've done for Sulphur Springs, all of our sports, and the community. And then some more seniors. We've got 3 more. Alan Hernandez, also a member of Wildcats Cross Country, coached by Ross Hicks, also a women's or girls track and field coach. And Hernandez, a 3-year member of Wildcats varsity soccer. The last 2 seniors here honored tonight were Eric Montalvo, a 1-year member of the varsity, and Osvaldo Ariano. And many of you Wildcat listeners, fans, may know that Ariano was the kicker for Wildcats football this past season. And he was a 1-year member of varsity soccer, and he hopes to become a soccer coach when he gets older. But just a minute and a half to go here, and all too ready to get this one underway. A senior night contest between Sulphur Springs and Hallsville, a seeding game between these 2 schools. The winner takes the 3 seed, the loser still in the playoffs, but as the 4 seed. Sulphur Springs hoping to extend their 3-game winning streak to 4, and Hallsville just as potent, and they got the better of Sulphur Springs the last time these 2 teams played on Friday, February 18th. So Sulphur Springs going to need to channel all of their best players and all of their best effort if they hope to get on top of Hallsville here tonight. Hallsville riding a 1-game losing streak after Friday's loss to Pine Tree. That was at Bobcat Stadium, in which Hallsville lost 2-1. But prior to that Friday loss to Pine Tree, home loss to Pine Tree, the Bobcats did have a 2-game winning streak, 2-game losing streak before that, and then kind of went back and forth in the win column. So Sulphur Springs, both of these schools really, had perhaps not the best start to district that they wanted, but I'm sure both of them are grateful that they've got a stamp ticket to the postseason and have an ability to even avoid a district champion in the by-district round of playoffs. Very interested to talk to Coach Alexi Upton after this game concludes here tonight to talk about how all that will shake out. But first, we've got just 8 seconds left on the clock as we are about set to begin a senior night contest for Wildcat Soccer as they host the Hallsville Bobcats. 000's on the clock now. And I believe we are just about ready to get these two teams on the field and introduced. So let's hand it over to the PA now.
Welcome to tonight's district matchup for the Hallsville Bobcats and your Sulphur Springs Wildcats. Starting lineup for the Hallsville Bobcats. Number 1. Joel Ontiveros. Number 2, Jeremiah Montoya. Number 3, Jesus Ramirez. Number 4, Cole Zolliger. Number 5, Ismail Adame. Number 7, Nizo Adame. Number 8, Ivan Olvera. Number 9, Ian Alvarez. Number 10, Vincent Martinez. Number 11, Zach Southern. Number 12, Jose Adame. Number 13, Oliver Dilday. Number 14, Segundo Reyes. Number 17, Lulu Obade. Number 22, Isaiah Solis. Number 0, Ricardo Navarro. Coaches, Jesus Mendoza and Dalton Hasler. Now your starting lineup for your Sulphur Springs Wildcats. Number 1, Alexis Passion. Number 2, Uriel Santa Cruz. Number 3, Matthew Clark. Number 4, Jose Rodriguez. Number 5, Manuel Calez. Number 6, Brian Gonzalez. Number 7, Edgar Salazar. Number 8, Aubrey Camacho. Number 9, Angel Andino. Number 10, Alex Yanez. Number 11, Manuel Vega. Number 12, Simon Kiefer. Number 13, JC Salas. Number 14, Hector Hernandez. Number 15, Daniel Sanchez. Number 16, Garrett Robinson. Number 17, Rigoberto Oramendez. Number 18, Aldo Avera. Number 19, Alan Hernandez. Number 20, Jefferson Bonilla. Number 21, Eric Montalvo. Number 22, Osvaldo Ariano. Number 23, Mariano Carrenta. Number 24, Brandon Tavera. And number 25, Gavin White. Your head coach, Alexi Upton, and assistant coaches, Salvador Mejia and Carlos Ramirez. Now would you please stand and remove your hats as we honor our nation playing our national anthem.
With that, folks, it's just about time to play ball. Both teams' starting lineups announced, Wildcats and the visiting Hallsville Bobcats. And here at Gerald Prim Stadium on Tuesday, March 15th. It's a beautiful night out here tonight with daylight savings. And lost that hour just the other night, but it's a pretty beautiful day here at the Prim. Humidity's at 57%. Mostly fair outside at 64 degrees. Wind is coming from the north at 8 miles an hour. Visibility is at 10 miles. And after this game, it'll become increasingly cloudy with patchy fog after 4 a.m. So for those of you making the early rise there in the morning, be ready for what's something that may resemble Stephen King's The Mist, perhaps without all the giant insects and bugs attacking. But either way, great night here for senior night for Wildcat Soccer. And all huddled up with their coaching staff. Coach Alexi Upton there on the far side at about the 10. And then also on the away side, the visiting side, are a couple of Hallsville fans coming out to cheer on their team in their final regular season contest. And Sulphur Springs has a pretty nice showing here tonight. Good showing here. It's got to be at least 100 folks here to see Wildcat Soccer in their regular season finale. Sulphur Springs riding a 3-game winning streak, hoping to extend that to 4. And a great and very challenging way to conclude your regular season, no doubt. Taking on Hallsville. Granted, it's admittedly a bit better to do it at your home turf as opposed to having to make that almost, or what's got to be on the Big Yellow Dog, a 2-hour trip. So, tough for those Lady Cats. On the other side, the women's team. Lady Cats were eliminated from postseason contention on the 1st of March in their loss to Texas High. And it's been a tough going for Lady Cats Soccer. They've been dealing with a slew of injuries. Coach Javier Guayo was telling me earlier in the season that he lost 7 starters, and one of them, of course, being Rebecca Stanley, someone who contributed 30 goals last year for the Lady Cats, so no doubt her presence would be missed. But Lady Cats Soccer, they've had a tough time entering tonight's contest in Hallsville. They are 2-9, and Hallsville running away with the 2 seed in District 15 5A for women's soccer, as even with a tie to Pine Tree just last weekend, Sulphur Springs, even with that loss, Hallsville still very much so in control of the 3 seed. Mount Pleasant and Longview, just like on the women's side, in control of District 15 5A with the 1 and 2 seeds. But on the women's side in 15 5A, Hallsville, they are the 3 seed. No chance of any of the following teams to catch up to them. But first kick is away. Hallsville pushing it deep downfield. Sulphur Springs quick to block it in the midfield. Trying to reverse field, getting something in transition. No, Hallsville. Nice tackle, but an even better tackle by Angel Andino, pushing it downfield. Trying to get it to number 2 there for Sulphur Springs, to Uriel Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz, he has scored 6 goals for Sulphur Springs this year and assisted on 5 more. He is one of 4 Wildcats to have at least a combination of 10 goals and assists. He's able to peek it through a defender there, number 11, Manuel Vega, one of the seniors honored here tonight at senior night. Sulphur Springs, nice pass back. Wildcat has it with some space. That's Andino from just about 15 yards out, wide left of the goal. No chance that one was going in. Goalie for Hallsville kicking it off the far touch line. A solid first attack there from Sulphur Springs, not even a minute into the game, putting the onus on the Hallsville defense, something that, and a nice save there by the goalie. He's able to push it away with his hands, has to run back towards it on the near side. He does so successfully. Sulphur Springs can't quickly put one in on the last second, as the Hallsville goalie able to run back towards it. Free kick, trying to get it to one of the Adame brothers. But instead, Winds up with the Wildcat. Sulphur Springs throwing it in. Ovide. Great pursuit there on D. And once again, it's Ovide. Good tackle. Good challenge there by Sulphur Springs. Not allowing them to capitalize on momentum. Angel Andino almost got it in space, but instead he fumbled it a little bit. Passing it downfield. He's looking for Uriel Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz, he's got some space. He's in the corner, near side. Cross, not good enough. It goes straight to the goalie. Easy one on that one. Not the cross Santa Cruz was looking for. Again, he's got 6 goals this year and maybe looking to get his 6th assist in district play, or on the season actually, but no dice there. Hallsville kicking it downfield. And Sulphur Springs with it at the midfield. Ooh, deadly challenge there. Hallsville trying to push it to the other side of the 50, back into Wildcat territory, but Sulphur Springs doing a good job of controlling possession here at the midfield, something that was something of the exact opposite when the last 2 times these 2 teams played on Friday, February 18th. Angel Andino trying to shield his man, making lose control of the ball a bit, but nice push down from number 3. Ovide in space for Hallsville. And having to get it back to Zolliger. Zolliger in the midfield. Not the attack he wanted for there. It ricocheted off a Wildcat. It looks like it'll be number 11 for Hallsville with the throw in. It's Southern.
Throw in Hallsville.
Instead of Southern, it will be Zolliger. Throwing it on the far side. Nice high arching ball. Goalie able to deflect it, so Hallsville not able to quickly make something out of it. Sulphur Springs trying to push it back to the other side of the 50. Hallsville still has it inside the 20. From about 30 feet out. Deep goal, but no dice there. Goalie was all too ready for that one. And a nice booming kick from their goalie there. But winding up with it again is Sulphur Springs. Nice throw in, but 2 Bobcats back on D, not allowing the Wildcat to get to it. That was meant for Eric Montalvo. But now Hallsville with it near midfield. Ooh, big challenge there. And Hallsville gets the throw in after the big tackle from Sulphur Springs there. Trying to kick the ball away, deflect it perhaps with his leg. Ooh, a deep cross to Ovide. And they will say it's offsides. Canceled out what could have been a good opportunity there for Hallsville, but the offside penalty called against number 17, Ovide, gives Sulphur Springs a free kick. Ooh. Passes by a Wildcat. Hallsville now trying to get something in transition. Sulphur Springs doing a nice job of interrupting the passing lanes, not allowing Hallsville any sort of breathing room. Great challenge there. Great tackle by Sulphur Springs. And now Montalvo getting it to Wildcat in space on the far side. He's still got some room, looking for a cross, maybe. Oh, and he puts it in. Sulphur Springs scores. Maybe not. Looks like Hallsville is arguing that it did not go in, or perhaps maybe it went off the side or went into the side of the goal. We'll find out what the call is here in just a moment.
Correction, a goal kick for Hallsville.
So they will say no goal. Stays tied. Clean sheet here now at the Prim. Wildcats not awarded the goal. 0-0. Goalie for Hallsville. Kicking it downfield. Now it's Zolger in space. Having to defer to another Bobcat in the midfield. And the Bobcats getting a throw in. It's Zolger. Beautiful jump there. Heading it out of Sulphur Springs territory. Ovide still has it with a little bit of space, but the Wildcats not allowing it to get past that back four. Sulphur Springs done a really nice job here. Ooh, and a big tackle there. Surprised they didn't call that one. They'll let it play out. Wildcats making a good couple of tackles to avert any sort of attack, and that's a big tackle there. And looks like penalty committed there, or some misconduct committed by Hallsville. Free kick coming up for Sulphur Springs. A booming kick that made it just inside the 30. And nice job, nice ball handling there by Hallsville and number 3 Ramirez. Ramirez looking for Ovide. And Dino really roughing him up in the midfield. And Ovide called for some misconduct of his own. Zolger does a nice job interfering the passing lane. It's going back into Wildcat territory. And ooh, Ramirez still going for it. And number 3, Matthew Clark, was running him down on the near touch line. But it will be a free kick for the Wildcats. Number 4, Jose Rodriguez. Rodriguez, the leading assister on this squad, with 8 of them for Sulphur Springs. He's only managed 2 goals over this season, but with 8 assists, he's got himself either 10 goals or a combined 10 goals or 10 assists on goals, so good for him. Free kick. Nice job there. Pushing it out, Sulphur Springs and Angel Andino still looking to get it deeper out of their own territory. And a nice booming kick there by Alexis Passion. Ramirez, ooh, beautiful sliding tackle from Andino, not allowing Hallsville to keep it. But somehow the Bobcats maintain control. Sulphur Springs still with the ball, and oh my goodness, Ramirez is slicing and dicing the far touch line. Now it's Ovide in between the 2 seam lines. Ramirez, ooh, great tackle there by Sulphur Springs. But another beautiful challenge. Kicked out of bounds by Southern. Another throw-in coming up here. It looks like Jose Rodriguez will get the throw-in honors. Sulphur Springs. Ball's changing hands a bit here on the near side. Now it's Hallsville, and ooh, great pass to Zolliger. Zolliger has to defer back to number 7, Adame. And another throw in from Sulphur Springs. It's quick. To Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz. And free kick from the Bobcats. Starting to get a bit chippy down there. Definitely starting to get chippy down there. We're only about 12 minutes into this one. Both of these teams fighting desperately hard to get that 3 seed. Anything to get the upper advantage. And now Ramirez with another misconduct penalty. Sulphur Springs quick to get it into transition. And quick to throw it downfield, but far past any Wildcat in the vicinity. It was intended, or looked like it was intended for Edgar Salazar, one of the leading scorers for this team. In fact, the second leading scorer at 10 goals scored over this season. In first place is Alex Yanez with 13 goals scored for the Wildcats. He's assisted on 2 goals. Hallsville trying to get it out of deep of their own territory on the far side. And it looks like Adame on the far side has it for Hallsville. Yep, definitely getting chippy down there. Throwing it in is Zolliger. Nice booming throw. Headed out by Sulphur Springs. Another throw in for Hallsville. Ooh, great tackle there. Sulphur Springs now in transition. They've got a great opportunity here. And looking, and just at the last second, Hallsville, one of their back 4 defenders, able to kick it out. The last thing you want is some Sulphur Springs players in green grass with a good opportunity to score. To Andino in the mid. Andino lose control of it. Hallsville able to kick it out. Looks like it will be thrown in from the near side. To Santa Cruz. Rodriguez, another throw in. Andino has it. But his ball handling did not help him in that situation as quickly. Bobcats kicking it out. Santa Cruz. Now it's to Andino. Rodriguez trying to put one up high where the kids can't get it. But instead, the goalie able to run out, almost making out of the larger box. But did not quite make it out. He caught it, kicked it right back out. Sulphur Springs now back on D. Bobcats. Ooh, booming kick to get it out of the Sulphur Springs side of the 50 and 40. Now the Wildcats in a little bit of space. And we'll wait for a penalty called. Wildcats get the throw in near side. Just in the larger box. Hallsville kicking it out again. Looks like we got some substitutions for the Wildcats. Sulphur Springs getting themselves all set. And now the throw-in for the Wildcats. And last touch by Sulphur Springs as it rolled out of bounds out of the back of the end zone. So it'll be a free kick here for the Bobcats. Booming kick there by the goalie for the Bobcats. Hallsville, 7-10-4 entering tonight's game. Sulphur Springs, a very similar record at 7-14-2, so just looks like 2 ties and maybe 2 more games separate the 2 squads. Excellent challenge. Thwarting Ovide's momentum is Rodriguez, but Ovide gets it right back. Ooh. And that'll be for the hold is number 10. Alex Yanez is the one committing it. Deep booming kick. And we'll see what the call on the field is. They'll say that no Bobcat got to it, so it'll be out against Hallsville. Sulphur Springs getting a free kick of their own. Free kick is away. Bobcats have it. And it goes straight to the goalie from about 15 yards out. Hallsville starting to flip the possession clock a little bit. Ovide still has it for Hallsville in space, but Sulphur Springs, nice challenge and an even better tackle by Hallsville to get the ball right back. And they'll call some misconduct against Hallsville. Now a free kick for Sulphur Springs. Booming kick from the Bobcats. Ovide gets it back. Great challenge there to get the ball back for his squad. Still in space. Ovide gets the ball right back. All he needs is a well-placed cross and then in between the uprights. No goal for Hallsville. Was that a great opportunity to put one in the net and get what may just be the difference maker. But it looks like we got a Wildcat down. It looks like Angel Andino. He is right in front of the Sulphur Springs bench, so he's able to walk up and walk over about 5, 6, maybe 10 feet. So he goes back to the bench. No pause in action necessary. Free kick for Sulphur Springs. Wildcats got it in space. It's Santa Cruz, but he's being outpaced by a Bobcat there. And what speed there on the wings. Now it's number 10, Alex Yanez. Yanez. And a big shove there. No call. Throw in for the Bobcats. Great challenge by Matt Clark. Sulphur Springs doing a nice job tonight of kicking it out and making sure that the Bobcats can't keep up their momentum. Santa Cruz, the nearest Wildcat to it. He's got some guys in pursuit, but now it's to number 7. And a great pursuit. Looks like by number 4 there, Zolliger. Lots of speed on the wings for Hallsville. And it looks like we got to get the ball near side on the, guess that would be the southwest corner of the end zone. And number 7, Edgar Salazar trying to get it to Wildcat, and ooh, just sailing it through the uprights. That one's lucky. It'll land in the same zip code. No goal for Sulphur Springs. Stays a clean sheet. Both teams still tied at 0. Free kick from Hallsville. Ooh, great tackle. Sulphur Springs now in transition. The Wildcats. All over it is Hallsville. And called against the Wildcats. Going back the other way is Hallsville.
Free kick.
Free kick for Hallsville. Bobcats still in Wildcat territory. Trying to thread it into Ovide, but it didn't work there. Sulphur Springs. Ooh, and Ovide with some great tackling skills. Hallsville pushing it towards the goal, but wide right of the goal, it sails. Goalie for Sulphur Springs, all too easy, all too able to make that one. Hallsville, once again, with it in Sulphur Springs territory. But the Wildcats, quick to push it out. Zolliger, pushing it to the far side. But last touch by a Bobcat. Wildcats get the throw in. Just as quickly, though, Hallsville gets a throw in of their own. Sulphur Springs getting the opportunity to get it out of their own territory. With a throw in, Sulphur Springs still keeping it in bounds. The Wildcats still have it. Now to the other side of the 50. High arching and towards the goal. A quick save there by the Bobcats. Sulphur Springs trying to win here on senior night, which would be a season closing win for the Wildcats. And would also extend their win streak from 3 to 4. And it would be the longest win streak of Wildcat Soccer season. Not only their district season, but of their entire season. So Sulphur Springs, no doubt hoping to get the win over the Bobcats here tonight, which would give them the 3 seed. A loss on senior night here tonight on Tuesday, March 15th, would give Sulphur Springs the 4 seed heading into the playoffs. But now a throw in. Push deep into Wildcat territory. Looks like Ovide who has it. Adame crossing it in. Goalie's going back for it. Will Clark get to it before Bobcat does? Yes. But as a result, Ovide and Hallsville throwing it in. No. It'll go the other way for the Wildcats. Looks like a penalty committed by Sulphur Springs, so they will get a free kick inside the Wildcat 30. Been saying this a few times through this first period, but this may in fact be the best opportunity for Hallsville to put one in. Ooh, great save there at the last second, able to deflect the ball over the uprights. Otherwise, that would have been a surefire goal for Hallsville. However, they will get a corner here. Let's see if Alvarez, number 9 for the Bobcats, can deliver a deadly cross. Crosses away, able to push it away, but it stays inbound. Will Sulphur Springs come back for it? Yes, they will. Wildcats starting to try and get something in transition here. Instead, the Bobcats get it right back. They are now inside the 20. Good tackle by Sulphur Springs. Bobcats pushing it out wide. Looking for Zolliger. Out wide. Once again, keeping it out wide. Far side is Hallsville. Bit of a stutter step. Going to a Wildcat. Wildcat is momentarily down. He gets back up. Hallsville still with it. Deep into Wildcat territory. Sulphur Springs. Nice job pushing it out. Oh, a Wildcat in space now. He's all alone. He's got about 5 yards separating between him and a defender. And ooh, just a stutter step trying to make his man miss. And as a result, all too able to catch up to him and make a great tackle. Sulphur Springs kicks it out. And now the Bobcats getting another opportunity. Ramirez pushing it deep to Ovide. Shielded out. Southern, the intended man. Sulphur Springs with it in space. Now it's Yanez. He has to come back for it, and as a result is tripped up by a Bobcat, and it takes some time, but they get the call.
Free kick for the Wildcat.
So it will be a free kick for Sulphur Springs with just under 11 and a half to go here in this first period. The Wildcats. And it looks like another penalty committed by Hallsville. So as previously mentioned, this game extra chippy between these two programs. Trying to win and get the 3 seed. We'll see if it shakes out Sulphur Springs way or it goes to Hallsville. Wildcats can't put one in. So it'll be a free kick for the Bobcats. Free kick is away. Ovide trying to jump up for it. And it looks like Ovide might have been tripped up. They'll let him play on. Almost a good job there shielding out a man. But Sulphur Springs now pinned back deep into their own territory. Matt Clark, nice job kicking it out to Santa Cruz. And ball changes hands a bit. Couple sloppy passes for both teams. And Andino trying to make a nice running tackle. But to no avail. Hallsville still with it. And it looks like number 1, Passion, kicking it out. So it will be a corner for the Bobcats. Under 9.5 to go here in this first period. Still a clean sheet. Both teams with a 0 on the scoreboard. Number 9 with the cross. Kick back to Alvarez for Hallsville. He crosses it right back. Ovide with the header. No good. Goes straight up. Sulphur Springs trying to get something going in transition. They've got a little bit of something going. Might have been tripped up a little bit. Let him play on. And that will be some misconduct. Hard to argue that one, as it looks like a Wildcat might have been just about tackled on the far side. Which, we may be at a football stadium, but we're not talking about that kind of football. Sulphur Springs. Free kick. Just as quickly kicked out by the Bobcats. Throw in. Takes a high bounce up. Sulphur Springs. Still keeping it on the far side, but Wildcat was the last player to touch it. And a throw in from Hallsville coming right up. Bobcats trying to make something happen on that far touchline right in front of both teams' benches. And a high flying cross deep back into Wildcat territory. Excellent, excellent job stymieing that success for Hallsville, pushing it downfield. Oh, and a big tackle there by a Wildcat. And they will give him the yellow card. Looks like that's number 7, Edgar Salazar, who got the call. As previously mentioned, getting chippy down there on the field. Both these teams in their regular season finales fighting to get that one final win, and a crucial one at that, as whoever wins here tonight gets the 3 seed in the playoffs. Gets to avoid playing a district champion in the by-district round. Sulphur Springs still with it. Crossing into Bobcat territory is Alex Yanez, trying to beat 2 men. And cannot beat the second man, number 4, Zolliger. The Bobcats. Now it'll be a throw-in from Santa Cruz. No, number 4. That is Jose Rodriguez. Rodriguez, as previously mentioned, has 2 goals for the Wildcats this season and 8 assists. He is by far the leading assister on this squad. Sulphur Springs with a great opportunity. Oh! And what looks like a surefire goal from the Wildcats. Instead, at the very last second, is kicked out by Hallsville. No goal. Just about 6 minutes left to go in this first period. This may be the best chance for Sulphur Springs to score. Here's the cross. And trying to put one in. No. Oh, and just nowhere near his target. Tough shot there by the Wildcats. And gives up what is undoubtedly 2 of their best opportunities here in this first period to put one in the net. Clark goes up for the header. Jose Rodriguez, the recipient. Now to Andino. Andino jogging around a few guys. He's looking for number 11. That's Manuel Vega, one of the 6 seniors here tonight, honored on senior night. Right back to Vega. Ovide on D with a nice job. And, ooh, completely misses a Wildcat trying to make a diving tackle. Bobcats have it in space. And probably hesitated a bit too long, as Sulphur Springs able to make a nice challenge and get the ball right back. Free kick upcoming for the Wildcats. The ball is exchanged by both teams before number 4 Zolliger gets himself another misconduct called. Sulphur Springs, free kick upcoming. Less than 4 minutes to go in this first period. Still clean sheet. Both teams tied at 0. The victor, the 3 seed in the playoffs for the bi-district round. And crucial because the loser enters the playoffs still, but as the 4 seed, which would mean that they would have to take on a district champion in the bi-district round. High flying free kick and the goalie, wow. A nice job running straight to the ball just outside of the penalty zone. Ovide with it for the Bobcats. Bobcats getting the throw in. Header is sent straight up. Number 7 tries to put one in, but the goalie for Sulphur Springs does a beautiful job of falling on top of it. No goal for the Bobcats. Beautiful, beautiful kick. Out near the 50. Santa Cruz. Tripped up by Adame. Yanez delivers it deep to a Wildcat. There is an athlete from Sulphur Springs there. He's trying to put one into one of his teammates in between the seam lines, but no good. Back for Bobcat. Able to find a teammate out near the 40. And ooh, some great passing from the Bobcats. Here is number 9. He's got some room. Trying to put one in with the cross. No, misses Ovide on the cross. Ooh, what could have been an incredible opportunity for the Bobcats to score. Instead, does not go their way. Completely missing Ovide on the cross. And now Sulphur Springs gets to throw it in. Under 90 seconds left to go in this first half. Still a clean sheet. Both teams with zeros on the scoreboard. Hallsville trying to sneak one in right before these teams break for the half. Hallsville still with it. On the far side are the Bobcats, but it will bounce off a Bobcat on that pass, and Sulphur Springs gets a throw in of their own. Now under a minute left to go here in this first period. Both teams clean sheet here. Tied at 0-0. And now with less than 17 seconds left to go in this first period, Hallsville does get a throw in. But they'd have to have a whole bunch of things go their way on this next possession if they wish to put one in. Throw in from the Bobcats. Sulphur Springs kicking it back to midfield, and that will end the first period as we go into the break with both teams tied at 0-0. We're going to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors, but when we return, we'll have an exciting second period coming right up.
Okay, Ross, we're out.
We have got 10 minutes, so why don't you give me 8 minutes. I'll do a little halftime spiel and then just take us right in.
Okay. I also have temperature and wind speed if you want it.
Yeah, lay it on me.
59 degrees outside, and wind is from the northwest at 3 miles an hour.
Beautiful.
8 minutes. Go ahead. I've got it from here.
This is game time.
All right, I'm going to go run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Just a reminder, if you want to purchase one of the shirts that the seniors are wearing tonight, we have a sale in the concession stand.
All right.
Okay.
We hope you're having a good time listening to some great music here on Game Time. Remember, fans, student athletes represent their teams, fellow students, teachers, and their school community. Athletes are expected to be individuals who will make a good impression for their schools. Another awesome game day tune is coming up here on Game Time. Opposing teams know when the Wildcat show their team, things gonna be a world of pain. This is Game Time.
$25 seconds.
Beautiful.
$15. Five seconds, I should say. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back over to Gerald Prim Stadium here at the break on senior night for Wildcat Soccer. Here on senior night, hosting the Hallsville Bobcats. We've still got a clean sheet here at the break. Both teams tied at 0. No goals scored. Both teams had a lot of good opportunities, but just could not cash in and put one in the net. I suspect we'll have another tight second half coming up. But for now, let's talk about all things other things sports here in Sulphur Springs. Wildcat Soccer obviously here at the Prim tonight on Tuesday, March 15th, hosting Hallsville. Lady Cat Soccer also wrap up their season, but unfortunately they were eliminated from postseason contention earlier this month as they just could not overcome the loss of 7 starters this season. And much like women's basketball, just kind of had to work with what they had. And Lady Cat Soccer right now entering tonight's game 2-9 in district play. And again, they wrap up their season in Hallsville tonight. Very interested to see how that game plays out. But softball and baseball, they both take on Mount Pleasant. Softball in their 3rd district game are in Mount Pleasant, whereas Wildcats baseball teed off their district season tonight at 7 p.m. at Wildcat Park. And right now, it's admittedly not going great for Sulphur Springs and Wildcats baseball as they trail Mount Pleasant 3-0 at Wildcat Park. Sulphur Springs being out-hit 7 hits to none versus Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant has committed just 1 error, but Sulphur Springs committed 3, and those no doubt had a big play, have played a big part in what is currently a losing effort to Mount Pleasant. So hoping Coach Jared Hammock and his squad can pull something out late and get that first win, but no doubt tough against a very talented Mount Pleasant school. And Coach Hammock, I had the opportunity to speak with him before this game, just 2 seconds left to go on the break clock. But I had a chance to talk to Coach Hammock earlier today and wanted to catch up with him, see how the tournament season went, and scrimmage play, of course, as well. But, he said, he didn't want to make excuses, but he said that his team has taken on some tough talent across 5A and 6A over the last 3 weekends in tournament play. And I think the record definitely reflects that a bit as they are 3-8 entering tonight and look to be, as of right now, on their way to 3-9 if they fall to Mount Pleasant in their district opener at Wildcat Park. But the good news is that it's just the first district game and that there are still 11 more to go. And if Wildcat Soccer have taught any of these other teams anything, it's that you can have a slow start and still make a postseason run. Or at the very least make a run for the postseason. Wildcat Soccer already punched their ticket to the postseason as at least the 4 seed, but looking to maintain their current standing as the number 3 team in District 15 5A if they can best Hallsville here on senior night. Just trying to let the Dickens to find information on Lady Cat softball. As of yet, I have been unsuccessful. But always great when the two schools play, Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant, something Coach Jared Hammock talked about. He said for as long as he's been here, 17 years, it's been Mount Pleasant. They've been the rival. And he said obviously that started with football, but it's made its way to the other teams, and you can definitely see that here, even though soccer is playing Hallsville. Sulphur Springs definitely going to, whether they want to admit it or not, miss having Mount Pleasant as a district foe. And I bet that's something that Sulphur Springs fans are going to have a bit of an interesting time getting used to. As granted, football hasn't played Mount Pleasant in a couple of years thanks to district realignment, but now with Sulphur Springs moving down to 4A and almost every other team in 15-5A staying right put in 5A Division 1, Sulphur Springs now will not play Hallsville or Mount Pleasant, at least in soccer, unless the two teams are in a tournament together or scrimmage each other. So got to enjoy these reps against these schools while they last. Hallsville trying to make an early push on offense, but instead Sulphur Springs keeping it. And just as I said that, Bobcats getting a throw in on the near side. Ooh, great challenge by Sulphur Springs, but just as quickly, Hallsville gets it right back. Booming kick back into Bobcat territory. There's a Wildcat going back for it. It goes straight to the goalie, who scoops it up with both hands and pushes it back out to midfield. Wildcats trying to make something happen at midfield. Luckily, they get a throw in. Sulphur Springs on the far side, getting shielded out by the Bobcat D. Luckily, they get to throw it in again. Hallsville trying to get it out of their territory. Sulphur Springs doing everything they can to keep pushing it down. But deeply kicked out by Hallsville. Thrown from the Wildcats. And just as quickly kicked out by Hallsville. Another throw in from Sulphur Springs. Hallsville doing what they can to make sure Sulphur Springs doesn't start pushing it downfield on them. And they've done a nice job up to this point as both of these teams really sandwiched in between each 30s. Kicked out wide. Diverts one defender, able to push it down. But thrown out by the Wildcats. Free kick upcoming for the Bobcats. Free kick on the way from the goalie for Hallsville. Clark with the header. Ooh, and two players collide. And a diving tackle by number 11, Manuel Vega. Sulphur Springs trying to thread it in to Alex Yanez on the cross. No dice. Another throw in for Hallsville. Ovide gets it to Zolliger. Pushing it deep downfield to Ovide. Ovide is there. Trying to get it into another Wildcat, but not, or another Bobcat, but not on that one. Hallsville does maintain possession inside about the 25. Sulphur Springs trying to push it downfield, but Hallsville so good at tackling. Really good at stymieing momentum here. Both of these teams seeing which midfield can prove the difference maker here in this second period. It's been tight. Both teams with a clean sheet. All tied at 0. Free kick for the Wildcats. Zooms past its intended recipient. Vega. Challenging his defender. But Vega didn't really have much of a choice on the intense press from his defender. Now has to kick it away. Zolliger. Zolliger. Throwing it in again for Hallsville. Ovide. Trying to thread it to another teammate, but they will call offsides. Hallsville. Trying to push it back into Sulphur Springs territory and trying to get that first goal. Instead, Sulphur Springs, great challenge and great job pushing it out. Zolliger, excellent tackle. And the intended Wildcat recipient was not ready for the pass. Takes a bounce off a Bobcat, throw in for Sulphur Springs. And it looks like it was last touched by Hallsville. Another throw in for number 6, Brian Gonzalez. Well right of the goal. Goalie for the Bobcats, wise to just let that one roll well out of bounds. Hallsville throwing it in from a corner. The Wildcats the last to touch it. However, last touched by a Wildcat about 15 yards closer to midfield. So a bit closer to the Sulphur Springs goal. And looks like we've got some more misconduct on the field.
Free kick for Hallsville.
Free kick upcoming for Hallsville. Right about square at midfield. And try to, I think, put one into one of his guys on the outside so that then maybe they could deliver across, but that was just my interpretation of it. Either way, well left to the goal. No goal for Hallsville. Free kick upcoming for Sulphur Springs. Free kick is away. Ooh, good challenge. Hallsville still ends up with it, though. Ooh, beats his man. Deep into Wildcat territory, but cannot keep up with it. Free kick upcoming for Sulphur Springs. A nice booming kick. Past midfield. Hallsville really putting the Otis on the Wildcat defense, as the ball has very rarely here in this second period. Now past 10 minutes into this second. Ball has rarely made it to the opposite side of the 50. So Hallsville not only dominating time of possession here in the second, but doing a real nice job of keeping it on the Wildcat side of the 50. Throw in here for the Bobcats. And a Bobcat heads it out of bounds. Clark on the back line for Sulphur Springs. Now Wildcat has it with a little bit of space. He gets it to another player. He's quickly closed out by the defender. That was number 10, Alex Yanez, who was trying to run after it. Number 8 on defense, Olvera, running after it. And free kick for the Bobcats. Free kick straight out of bounds. Not exactly how you draw it up. Sulphur Springs throwing it in near side to Edgar Salazar. I'm sorry, Brian Gonzalez, number 6. Southern on the back line is there. Andino fighting at midfield to get it back. But instead, number 5, Adame, with some quick skills for Hallsville. Hallsville fighting to keep it on the far side. And the Bobcats will keep it. Ovide gets the pass, but I don't think he was very much ready for it, as he was quickly swarmed by 3 different Wildcats. It'll be a throw-in for Hallsville inside the Sulphur Springs 20. Here's the throw. No good. Oh, goodness. It takes a couple of bounces, but it does leave the goal. No goal for Hallsville. Sulphur Springs still with it. Ooh, Angel Andino makes a man fall. That's got this crowd excited, and now it's to number 8, Aubrey Camacho. Camacho cannot use the same ball handling skills. However, Hallsville does kick it deep out of their own territory. So looks like we've got a corner here, or a throw-in from deep inside Bobcat territory. Through about 15 minutes of the second period, both teams still tied at 0-0. Camacho with the throw-in. And tries to thread it in, number 7, Edgar Salazar, but just cannot get it past that goalie for Hallsville. He's had himself a real good night here. Hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities to really show off showcase his goalkeeping skills, but when he has, He has shown up for Hallsville. Bobcats. Square at midfield. Ooh, nice job shielding out his man. Hallsville still with the ball, and ooh, tripped up in a big way by a Wildcat. Committed by number 9, Angel Andino. A big assister on this squad. He may only have 2 goals for Sulphur Springs this season. The 4-year member of Wildcats Soccer. One of the seniors honored here tonight on senior night versus Hallsville. And like I said, only 2 goals for him, but 6 goals assisted. Second highest assister on this team, behind only Jose Rodriguez with 8. Rodriguez does have 2 goals scored on the season. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of those was in the 13-0 blowout victory over, yes it was, 13-0 blowout victory on January 25th over North Lamar. That was in Paris, and gives Sulphur Springs perhaps a taste of what they can expect next year in the new districts. And takes a bounce off the top upright, so no goal for Hallsville. Free kick upcoming for Sulphur Springs. Or not. They will call it a corner, so Hallsville with another good opportunity to put one in the net. And again, with this game being so tight, it may just be the difference maker. Here's the cross. And Sulphur Springs able to kind of get it out, but Hallsville still able to maintain possession of the ball. Another corner here. Sulphur Springs trying to avoid a corner goal here. Oh, and just off the top upright. Ovide just narrowly missed putting a goal in, which may very well be the difference maker here, as both teams remain tied with a clean sheet. 0 for Sulphur Springs and Hallsville, with just about 23 minutes left to go in the second period. For those in attendance, we may be looking at an overtime situation. Wildcats. Ooh, big tackle there.
Throw in for the Wildcats.
Sulphur Springs. So, scoring update, Sulphur Springs was able to get a run on the board, but Mount Pleasant added another one, and they are currently at bat. They lead now, again by 3, but now at 4-1. Runners on first and second. Deep kick. And the goalie for Hallsville, all too able to run up and catch that one. Running kick, Sulphur Springs players running back. Great header there. But it goes straight to Ovide. And, ooh, 2 great tackles by some Wildcats. Clark kicks it right back to another Bobcat. And now Sulphur Springs kicking it straight back to the goalie for Hallsville. Oh, boy, a wild pitch thrown by Sulphur Springs. Runners now advance to second and third. Still 2 outs, but they still trail by 3, 4-1. That game's over at Wildcat Park. Sulphur Springs with a great opportunity. Oh, he's on a load. Number 7 puts it in, and he scores! Goal, Wildcats! Edgar Salazar with a dynamite goal to put Sulphur Springs up 1-0 over Hallsville. That is Salazar's 11th goal here on the season. My word, what a goal there. Edgar Salazar puts the Wildcats up 1-0. Oh, Sulphur Springs. Number 7 for the Wildcats, Salazar. Having to get away. And big shielding call. Sulphur Springs fans wanted that one called. They'll let it play out. And now a yellow card. Looks like it'll be called against number 10 by the looks of it.
Free kick for Hall.
Two yellow cards given here tonight to Sulphur Springs, one to Edgar Salazar, the Wildcat who scored the goal for Sulphur Springs to give them the 1-0 advantage. But the other one given to Alex Yanez just moments ago. So Hallsville, strategy no doubt has changed now that they trail 1-0. And no choice but to kick it right back to their goalie. Clark going back for the header. It goes straight back to, it looks like Passion. However, there is a Bobcat with some space. Ooh, great job running up to the ball, challenging them, not allowing them to get any good looks and open passes. And goes straight into the left side of the goal. So no goal for the Bobcats. Decent opportunity for Hallsville. Comes up empty. Wildcats still lead 1-0. And ooh, 2 runs scored by Mount Pleasant. So that should put that game right about out of reach for Sulphur Springs, as Mount Pleasant now leads 6-1 at Wildcat Park. Mount Pleasant still at bat. It was a single that got one of the runs home. Or at least 2 of the runs, it looks like. Sulphur Springs now trying to juke and jive his defender was Uriel Santa Cruz. But number 8, Olvera, did not bite on that one. Sulphur Springs throwing it in. And looks like Bobcat will be called for the hold. Free kick coming up for Sulphur Springs. They lead 1-0 over Hallsville. Ovide on D. Now Angel Andino running after it, and ooh, he is shoved. Now they'll call it.
Free kick for the Wildcats.
Free kick upcoming. It'll be Jose Rodriguez with the honors. Puts in the cross. Will he get there? No. Goalie, great job shielding out any Wildcat players, thwarting any chance of attack. And oh, a Wildcat defender slips down, and a Bobcat races past him. He is down. Oh, deadly cross. And it goes straight to the goalie. Goal saved. No goal for Hallsville. Wow, what an amazing opportunity that was for the Bobcats to put one in. Once again, though, they come up empty. And Jose Rodriguez juking his man twice. And Rodriguez will get the ball right back after it ricochets off his defender's leg. Seeing if he can't juke and jive another defender. The throw in from Rodriguez. Salazar ends up with it, but now Ovide with a quick pursuit, able to run after it, and a beautifully timed tackle there by number 22. And that's Osvaldo Arellano. As previously mentioned, during the senior night festivities, he is the kicker for Wildcats football. Cross put into the center of the field by Hallsville. Bobcats with some options. They have to defer back out to about the 30. And after some changes of possession, Zolliger for Hallsville ends up with it. And if this were the other kind of football, that'd be a field goal. But this is the air quote real football, as some folks might call it. No goal for Hallsville. Sulphur Springs with a free kick now. They lead Hallsville 1-0. Sulphur Springs hoping to close out this game with a win, which would give them the 3 seed in the playoffs. Edgar Salazar trying to bounce it off his man Zolliger. However, Bobcat is able to kick it back deep into Sulphur Springs territory. And now number 22 called for the violation. That's Arellano, a 1-year member of Wildcat varsity. Hopes to become a soccer coach after his studies at university. Bobcats put one right into the center. And, they still got an opportunity. And well right of the goal. Nowhere near where he wanted to put that one. Sulphur Springs heads it out of bounds. So it will be another throw in from deep inside Wildcat territory for Ovide. Ovide throwing it in for Hallsville. And Sulphur Springs wise to kick it deep out of territory. And here's another opportunity. Salazar connects with Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz beats his man. Tries to put it in and too far out. The goalie able to bounce it off the top of his arms, pick it up and kick it out. Another good opportunity in space there for the Wildcats. Comes up empty for the Sulphur Springs that time. Coach Alexi Upton's squad still leads here on senior night, 1-0 over Hallsville. Now heading into the bottom of the 6th. Wildcats still trail Mount Pleasant over at Wildcat Park in the district opener, 6-1. Due up for Sulphur Springs are Colt Silman, 0-1 on the night. Tyler Stroud, the right fielder, he is 0 for 2. And then Riley Hammonds, 0 for 2 as well. So it's been a tough night for Sulphur Springs baseball in their district opener. And coaching staff for Sulphur Springs wanted to call there. They will not call it. And after some physical exchanges between some players down on the field, right about at midfield, they will call it dead. Free kick for Sulphur Springs. Now 12.5 to go here in this game. Wildcats maybe hoping to get one more in, potentially really put this game out of reach. Some Wildcats collide for it. Hallsville pushes it out. Bastione running back for it. But it rockets past him. Sulphur Springs throwing it in. Hallsville doing a nice job of getting it back deep into Sulphur Springs territory. Ovide has it. Well over the goal. That one might have even been through the uprights as well. So I think we've got a couple of kickers for the football team for Hallsville on this team. They're really good at putting it through the uprights, but putting it in the net, not so much. Sulphur Springs still leads 1-0. Bounces off a Wildcat head. Deep booming kick by number 11. Goes into the home stands. That's Southern for Hallsville. Wildcats throwing it in yet again. It'll once again be Ariano. Now under 11 minutes to go here in this second period. Sulphur Springs still leading 1-0. Trying to hold on, beat Hallsville. And doing so would give them the 3 seed come playoff time. And avoid traveling to and playing a district champion in the by-district round. So would be huge for Sulphur Springs to not only get the win over Hallsville, but to avoid that district champion in the first round. Ariano. Ovide for Hallsville, trying to come back for it. And Santa Cruz still has it inside the 20. Cross, ooh, and misses his man, Camacho. I'm sorry, Yanez. Clark, one of the back four there, gets it to a Wildcat out wide, intended for Jose Rodriguez, but instead misses man. Throw in for the Bobcats is a good one, but Sulphur Springs quick to push it away, and oh, Santa Cruz has got it. He's got it in some space. And man, they are doing whole lot of what I would call not so soccer tackles out there. Looking more like football tackles. Yanez. And Sulphur Springs still with the ball. And they will give it right back to the Wildcats. Now less than 9 minutes left to go in this game and in the regular season for Sulphur Springs as they lead Hallsville 1-0. Sulphur Springs, if they can hold on and get the win over the Bobcats, would be the 3 seed come playoff time and would end their regular season on a 4-game winning streak. Cross put in. Oh! Just went right of the goal. Oh, man, that was a great opportunity. No dice there for the Wildcats. Free kick coming up. A booming one. Couple of headers going straight up. Now given to Ovide. And Salazar, quick on defense, now taking it outside on the wing. And a big tackle. At the end of the 6th, Wildcats still trail Mount Pleasant 6-1 in baseball. And it looks like 2 strikeouts from Colt Silman and Tyler Stroud, and Riley Hammond's ground out. Now heading into the top of the 7th. Wildcats have just one more opportunity to put some runs on the board and perhaps make it a bit more respectable of a final score. Sulphur Springs was able to get a run in the bottom of the 5th, but Mount Pleasant responded in kind, getting 3 runs of their own to put the Tigers up 5 runs over Sulphur Springs 6-1. Corner opportunity amounts to nilch as Sulphur Springs still leading 1-0. Clark, great header. And Passione, I believe, was looking for Jose Rodriguez, and he was looking for Rodriguez to be screaming down the side, but wasn't ready for that one. Still in play. Ooh, but wide right of the goal. Less than 6 to go now. A loss tonight for Hallsville. Now, would not eliminate them from postseason contention. They are still confirmed as the 4 seed. But no doubt hoping to win here tonight, which would give them the 3 seed in 15-5A. Kick deep into the stands. And now Zolliger, after the ball is retrieved from the home stands, throws it into a Bobcat. And quickly, number 6 is there. Brian Gonzalez, one of the seniors honored here tonight on senior night. Rodriguez, stutter step, gets it to Yanez. Yanez, I believe it ricocheted off his leg, as a Bobcat was quick to come to it and kick it back to the home stands. Now less than 5 minutes left to go. Sulphur Springs hoping to cap off a pretty good regular season in which they got off to a bit of a cold start, but since then have been doing fairly well for themselves. As previously mentioned, the Wildcats came into tonight sporting a 3-game winning streak, and if they can hold on here, will be on their way to a 4th straight win and 4th win in 7th win in 10 games in district play. So, bit of a tough start, losing their first 2 games to the top 2 teams in 15-5A, Longview and Mount Pleasant. But since then, have won 6 of their 9 games and are hoping to hold on to get 7 of 10. Hallsville, though, still with 4 minutes to tie this game up, send it to OT. Bobcats on the far side. Getting some pressure from Sulphur Springs. Bobcats still have it. And he puts one in. The equalizer is in with less than 4 minutes to go, and Hallsville has tied this game up. Hallsville has just scored the tying goal, as now we've got ourselves a tied ball game, 1-1.
Number 17, Lulu Ogaday.
And that is a backbreaker there, as it looks like Sulphur Springs had just about every opportunity to put this game out of reach if they could just get one more goal, but now they're thinking the exact same thing. One more goal, avoid OT. We'll see who the call is going for. Looks like they'll give it to the Bobcats. Bobcats throwing it in. Well-placed ball. And Hallsville puts it right back into the middle. Nice header. On the far side, the Bobcats still have it. Luckily, Sulphur Springs able to get it to another athlete in space. Zolliger keeping up with his man. Looks like it's Yanez. Yanez screams by his man. Screams by two guys. And Bobcats have no choice but to kick it out as Yanez was running circles around him. Wildcats have to go back deep to get this one. And another deep one by Sulphur Springs. It's intended for Santa Cruz. And they will call it against the Wildcats.
2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes left to go before we potentially go into overtime. This game is tied, both teams with one apiece. Deep kick from the goalie for Hallsville. Headed out of bounds. Ariano kicking it out near side. Bobcats. And Dino with the tackle. And the Bobcats will keep it. Less than a minute to go. That could put a dagger in the heart of Sulphur Springs fans here at the Prim on senior night by putting a goal in late, which would give them the victory and the 3 seed. Here it is. Oh, and just missed the goal. My word. That looked like a sure thing, which would have given Hallsville the lead with just 30 seconds left to go here in this game. Both teams still tied. 1-1. 20 seconds left to go, though. Sulphur Springs, likely their last chance. And instead, Hallsville doing a nice job of keeping the ball. Sulphur Springs out wide is Yanez. Yanez. Oh, and he's just able to fall down on it. And that will put triple zeros on the clock as we go into overtime with both of these teams tied 1-1. We're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors, but when we return, we will have the first overtime coming right up.
Okay, we're out. Ross, how much you want?
We've got $4.40, so I'm going to go use the restroom. Why don't you give me 3.5 minutes?
We can do that, yeah. Sure can. 90 seconds. Thirty seconds. 15. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, folks, welcome back to the Prim as we've got OT number 1 coming up between Wildcat Soccer and the Hallsville Bobcats. Sulphur Springs and Hallsville had a clean sheet coming into the second period with both teams. Neither of them scoring a goal. Both teams tied at 0-0. However, Sulphur Springs was able to get ahead on a goal from Edgar Salazar, getting his 11th goal on the year. But Hallsville able to put one in on their own and tie it all up with just a few minutes left to go in the second period. And as a result, we've got 10 minutes on the clock in overtime number 1. We'll see if either of these teams can come out here early and get a go-ahead goal, which could very well be the difference maker. The first time these two teams met, it was a 3-0 Hallsville shutout blowout victory in Hallsville for the Bobcats over Sulphur Springs. But here at the Prim on senior night for men's soccer on Tuesday, March 15th, we've got a tied ball game heading into overtime number 1. Hallsville already taking the field. Coach Alexi Upton breaks the huddle with his squad. And now both teams' 11s out on the field. Winner of tonight's game. Now winner of tonight's overtime regular season finale takes the 3 seed. Sulphur Springs looked like they had every chance to win it as they held on to a slim 1-0 advantage over Hallsville, but now to know that that celebration ran shortly because Hallsville able to get the equalizer and tie the ball game up 1-1. Sulphur Springs trying to thwart an early Hallsville attack. They do so, pushing it out wide. It looks like it was intended for Salazar. Instead, it's wrapped up in his respective defender. Hallsville out wide. Last team to touch it. Sulphur Springs throwing it in. And a high booming kick deep onto the roof of the away side's bathrooms. Throwing for Sulphur Springs. And missed by 2 Bobcats. However, one quick to come in and push it out of his territory. Now it's Yanez. Yanez trying to thread it into someone. Not sure who his intended recipient was, but Salazar kicks it high. And Yanez now in between the 2 seams. And Angel Andino will have the free kicking honors. Here's Andino's kick. Andino, his kick, well left of the goal. Sailing wide left of the net. We remain tied here at the Prim, 1-1. Now through just about 2 minutes of action, and both of these teams had at least a shot of putting one in the net, but Sulphur Springs looks to be dominating time of possession here early. However, Hallsville able to push it deep. Bobcats, no look pass there to number 5, Adame. Takes a bounce. Wildcat come to it. Andino pushing it deep, or at least attempting to Salazar. However, once again, number 11, Southern, is there, interrupting the passing lanes. Not allowing a clean look for the Wildcats. Southern, quick, kicking it out. Throwing from Sulphur Springs. Kicked out by the Wildcats. Now 3 minutes of overtime are in the books. And for all you baseball fans out there, Wildcats unfortunately fell in their opener, or I'm sorry I spoke too soon. They only have one out, but they are in the bottom of the 7th in their last at-bat. Carpenter struck out in the first out of the inning. Brady Driver took strike one looking. So 1 strike, 1 out, no runners on base for Sulphur Springs. They trail by 8, 9-1 at Wildcat Park. And Passion does a nice job of lobbying for the call. And a booming kick. Southern is back for the header. Yanez trying to beat his man. And has to get it away to Santa Cruz. And Rodriguez tripped up a bit by number 12. That's Adame. Rodriguez. Now Andino. Andino loses possession of the ball. The Bobcats now with it in transition. Sulphur Springs. Throwing it in for the Bobcats is Zolliger. Ovide has it deep in Wildcat territory. And great save, kicking it out, and grabs his man and takes him down to the ground. And now, yellow card. Looks like given to a Wildcat. A lot of Sulphur Springs fans in the stands not happy with that call. 4.5 to go exactly here in this first OT. Both teams still tied at 1 apiece. Deadly place cross in the goal. And Hallsville takes the lead 2-1. That is a tough break for the Wildcats. as Hallsville takes the lead 2-1 with less than 4.5 to go here. Now Hallsville with another opportunity in transition. Wildcat does a nice job of kicking it back deep. Alex Yanez has something of an opportunity, but instead they'll be going the other way. Sulphur Springs, they can't get another goal, or potentially 2 goals, avoid going to a second OT. The Wildcats will now be the 4 seed entering the playoffs and take on the number 1 seed from 16-5A. Wildcats do have it in transition, though. Kicked out by the Bobcats. A throw incoming for Sulphur Springs. Bobcats now in transition. Lots of speed on the outside. They've got a player there. Kicking it back out. Coach Alexi Upton's squad and men's soccer trail Hallsville here in the first overtime, 2-1. Now just 2.5 to go here in this senior night contest, hosting the Hallsville Bobcats. Sulphur Springs and men's soccer trail 2-1. Here's a cross from Hallsville. Headed out. Sulphur Springs trying to get it to Edgar Salazar. It takes a couple of bounces. And it looks like it was touched perhaps by a Bobcat. Hallsville giving the ball right back to Sulphur Springs, but Sulphur Springs, after a deeply placed ball, turns it over. Bobcats, nice job of kicking it deep back into Sulphur Springs territory. Wildcats get the free kick. Jose Rodriguez pushing it deep. Intended for Uriel Santa Cruz here on the near side, but no dice there. Now just 75 seconds left to go here on the clock. Sulphur Springs trying to avoid a regular season ending defeat. Should be noted, however, that even a loss here tonight on senior night, the Wildcats are still confirmed for the postseason. And an overtime loss here to Hallsville would give Sulphur Springs the 4 seed. They had the 3 seed for a couple of weeks and got streamed together a couple of good wins. But what looks to be an overtime loss to Hallsville will ultimately cost them a chance at the 3 seed. And the goalie for Sulphur Springs able to make a nice save here in the last 30 seconds. But it looks like time might just be out for the Wildcats here, trying to get the 3 seed here in the playoffs. Hallsville kicks it back deep into Sulphur Springs territory. Now just 20 seconds. This is it, their last. That's it, 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that will do it as the Wildcats fall here on senior night to Hallsville 2-1. In overtime, a tough loss for Wildcat Soccer. We'll wrap this one up quick for y'all. Sulphur Springs played a really, really impressive game against the Hallsville Bobcats on senior night, as both teams went into the break with a clean sheet tied here at 0. Edgar Salazar able to put Sulphur Springs ahead 1-0 in the second period. However, Hallsville in the last few minutes of the second period able to get the equalizer and then quickly in overtime get a goal and give Hallsville a 2-1 victory in OT over Sulphur Springs. Oh. Well, looks like we've got another OT coming right up. So we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back here in just a moment.
Don't feel bad, I did the same thing.
Another OT?
That's what I said.
Overtime is 2 10-minute halves.
Even?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you ready to just want one break here?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Well, folks, I misspoke before we went to commercial. We've still got another overtime period coming up through one overtime. Hallsville able to go ahead 2-1, but still got one overtime left and just a minute break. And now just a few seconds remain before we begin a second overtime as the Wildcats head into it, trailing 2-1. Sulphur Springs needs to get at least one goal if they want to send this to perhaps penalty kicks, but I don't think any coach wants to put his team in that situation with a number 3 seed in the playoffs on the line here. And in your regular season finale, I mean, folks, I feel like just about every sport I cover, it's always to the wire. It's always to the very last game, trying to decide which team is which seed, and so much parity between all of the sports and all of the teams. And you see that here tonight as the 3 and 4 seed are battling in what feels like a playoff game. Sulphur Springs heads into the second OT, trailing 2-1, and they need to get at least one goal to send this into a penalty kick or a shootout. But for now, they trail 2-1. Hallsville on D to start this second overtime. For all you baseball fans out there, final from Wildcat Park. Sulphur Springs falls to Mount Pleasant in their district opener for baseball, 9-1. Starts their district season 0-1 and drops Wildcats baseball season record to 3-9. So tough start to their season with just a quarter of their 12 games they have won. Coach Jared Hammock and company, but still got a whole lot more to go, and they will be again at home on Friday. And assuming that we don't have bi-district soccer on Friday, I will be there at Wildcat Park on Friday to cover Wildcats baseball hosting Texas High. Should be a great one. Be my first time ever covering Wildcats baseball, so very excited for that. Last season, when my predecessor, the great Don Julian, was here, when I came back from, call it a break in between college and starting my adult life, when I came back, Don was doing a Wildcats basketball, so I said, okay, I'll do Lady Cats basketball. And then when we got over to baseball season, baseball started their district season at home, so I went on the road for softball. And very blessed to be able to do that because I saw some great softball last year. But Hallsville, now 2 minutes into the second overtime, they get a free kick from inside the Wildcat 10-yard line. I'm going to look to see if we've got some updates on Lady Cats softball. Nothing yet. Scratch that. A 6-0 victory for Lady Cats softball over Mount Pleasant. So with that, save there by Sulphur Springs does not give Hallsville another goal, which would almost undoubtedly put this game away at 3-1. Instead, Sulphur Springs remains trailing by 2-1. However, Osvaldo Arellano could not get the touch he wanted as he sends it out of bounds. Wildcats do a good job of kicking it downfield. Santa Cruz trying to get it into number 11. However, now Hallsville trying to get something going to the far side. Player is there. However, it looks like he has to defer to one of the Adame brothers. And from deep in Wildcat territory, I mean, that was almost out from 30 yards. No goal for Hallsville. Stays a 2-1 advantage for the Bobcats. So, going back to softball, Lady Cats win in Mount Pleasant 6-0 over the Lady Tigers. And entering tonight, both Mount Pleasant and Sulphur Springs were the lone undefeated teams in District 15 5A. But now with the 6-0 victory over the Lady Tigers in Mount Pleasant, Sulphur Springs, the lone undefeated team after a quarter of their district games at 3-0. Mount Pleasant now 2-1. And still chippy down there on the field. Sulphur Springs gets a free kick. Just about 5.5 minutes to go left in the second overtime. Deep booming kick. It's there. No, it bounces off the goalie. And goal averted for the Bobcats. Sulphur Springs remains trailing 2-1. And hard to avoid that one. Wildcat is down. It's Angel and Dino. And it looks like that player got a yellow card as well. So that should be 2 yellow cards for Hallsville, 2 for Sulphur Springs. Free kick now.
Free kick for the Wildcats.
Looks like Alex Yanez will be the one delivering the free kick from 22 yards out. Let's see what Yanez has cooking. Yanez has 13 goals scored for the Wildcats. 2 assists. Here's the kick. Oh, and it looks like it even sailed in between the uprights and the goal, so had it just a little bit less velocity, a little bit less altitude, that would have been a goal for Sulphur Springs. However, that might be a nice hypothetical, but in reality, Sulphur Springs still trails by 1, 2-1. Now just about 4.5 to go here in this double OT. Wildcats need to get one more goal. They want to at least potentially send it to PKs. 2 goals Sulphur Springs would need if they hope to avoid PKs altogether and get a double overtime win. In doing so, would give Sulphur Springs at least a tie here. Whereas, even in shootout, the Wildcats get a tie. Big tackle there by Hallsville. Now less than 4 minutes left to go. A booming free kick from the Wildcats. There are 3 Bobcats in the area, though, 4 now. And as quickly, Hallsville kicks it right back into Sulphur Springs territory. Hallsville hoping to hold on to a 2-1 advantage right now in double OT. And in doing so, would get the 3 seed from 15-5A in the playoffs. Sulphur Springs, the current 3 seed, and looks like they had a really good chance of winning this one in regulation. However, Hallsville has since scored 2 unanswered goals since Edgar Salazar's 1-0 difference maker, and now lead 2-1 here in double OT. Now less than 3 minutes left to go. Time is running out for Sulphur Springs and Coach Alexi Upton to win this game here tonight and get the 3 seed. Throw in. Bounces off of a Bobcat. And then bounces off a Wildcat on the throw in. So now Hallsville getting a throw in of their own. Clark trying to keep it in play, but he does exactly the opposite. And the Bobcat kicks it clean out of bounds. Sulphur Springs with the throw-in. Just about 2 minutes remain now. Intended for Alex Yanez, but quickly a Bobcat came screaming in. And some pushing and shoving on the far sideline. However, the Bobcats do remain with it. Now about a minute and a half to go here in this double overtime period. Hallsville currently leads 2-1. And now we've got some extracurriculars on the far sideline. Both teams can quickly converging on that area. And now just 60 seconds left to go here. As the Wildcats hoping to avoid a double overtime loss to Hallsville on senior night. The last meeting between these two teams in men's soccer as 5A, District 15 5A foes. Hallsville trying to keep it deep in Wildcat territory. Just 30 seconds remain. Hallsville keeping the Otis on the Wildcat defense. Jose Rodriguez has to be quick. Just 18 seconds remain. And it bounces past a Wildcat. And a Bobcat quickly kicks it back deep into Sulphur Springs territory. However, that should just about do it. 2-1, and that will do it as the Bobcats play spoiler on senior night, defeating Sulphur Springs 2-1 after 2 overtime periods. Really, it took just one. However, Sulphur Springs not able to capitalize and put one in over 2 overtimes, and as a result, fall on senior night 2-1. Won't be surprised by another overtime on this one, as the Wildcats in their regular season with a 2-1 loss to Hallsville on senior night. A tough way to end the regular season for Coach Alexi Upton and his men's soccer squad, but they have to take as something of a moral victory, as they kept Hallsville in check for a vast majority of this game, and perhaps maybe even awoken the beast there late in the game to make the Bobcats realize that, well, they can hang with the best of them, and just like a switch, they turned it on, and they started competing like a playoff team. A great game here tonight at the Prim as both soccer squads wrap up their regular season. Very interested to see how it went on the women's side, but on the men's side, the Wildcats fall 2-1 in double overtime. Very interested to talk with Coach Alexi Upton after this and see what's next for his squad now that they enter the playoffs as the number 4 seed with the double overtime loss to Hallsville. So again, Sulphur Springs will be taking on the number 1 seed from District 16 5A in the by-district round of playoffs. So congratulations to Hallsville on a gutsy big win over Sulphur Springs on senior night, and a tough loss for Wildcat Soccer, as next both teams look ahead to the by-district round of playoffs. That'll do it for us here at Gerald Prim Stadium. With your play-by-play, I'm Ross Lubinsky. Shooting video for us is Doug Hastings, and back at the station, making everything you hear possible, is our station manager, James Terry. Back to you, James.
Thank you, Ross.